Well, hello, friends. Welcome back to Commute Talk. Today, I thought I would talk a little bit about discoverability in software because it's something that I find really cool, but I'm not very knowledgeable about usability or the discipline of usability and user experience. But this thing that happens where you can just sit down with a program, like a software program, and discover its features and learn about it by using it. I find that really cool. And I'm mentoring a university student right now at work, and he comes mostly from a Windows background. And it's really interesting to watch him figure out how to use Unix by just banging his head against the command line until he figures out how to do stuff. It's cool, and it really makes me think about how to achieve discoverability in Serenity, because I would like the system to feel discoverable, I guess, to someone who is technically savvy but unfamiliar with the system. I would like it to, like, if you approach it with a logical mind and you want to figure out how to do something, I would want it to be possible for you to find that in a reasonable time frame, if it is something the system can do. I'm thinking back to the days of QBasic on DOS. If you ever used it, then probably you remember that you could put the text cursor on any language keyword or built-in function or whatever, and you press F1, and it takes you to the online help. Online in the 1980s sense, which meant that it would come up right away instead of being in a book, I guess. It would come up on screen. And you could find the help, the documentation for the keyword you were looking at, or function or whatever, and it was hypertext, so it would like link to other sections of the manual and stuff, and you could learn about the language and programming environment through this help system that was built into it. And I used that so much when I was a kid. I was constantly reading these help pages over and over and over when I was trying to work out how to do something in a program. And they were an invaluable resource for me. And I really want to have the same kind of feeling in Serenity somehow. That and it is difficult to write good documentation, and I have a lot of respect for the people who do, because writing good technical documentation that without being boring or condescending or not getting to the point fast enough for me to pay attention, that's tricky. And but I would like to have something like that. Even if it's just short blurbs about many things. If you can open the help about one thing and then find your way to another thing somehow intuitively, that would be really sweet. And I have no idea how to approach this problem, but I suspect that it's yet another one of those, if you just start doing it, then you'll figure it out as you go kind of things. But we'll see about that. Then I also think about Windows 95 and the Windowses that came later there in the 5-6 years following Windows 95, because those were exceptionally discoverable systems. And I was just a little kid back then, right? But I could sit down and just use Windows 95, and I never read a book about it or watched a video tutorial or whatever, and it didn't have the internet. But one day my dad just came home with a computer that had Windows 95 on it, and I sat down and I clicked around for hours, definitely, or days, and I was able to just learn the system by using it. And I would just go everywhere and read everything, and probably click on things that I shouldn't have clicked on, and it was just it was all there, and you could explore it sort of spatially, if that makes sense. And again, they had this online help about everything, and I was reading the Windows 95 help pages so many times, and I don't think I read all of them, probably not, but but I read them many times, the ones I did read. And but it's less about the documentation there and more about just a surfacing of so much through the UI. Because in Windows 95, they made it possible to explore. It almost felt like you were physically exploring the system, because you would open these windows and dialogues, and they would have these settings windows that you could open and look in those. And the control panel was very, it was almost like it was inviting you to explore it, right? Like the control panel was divided into sections, and they had these colorful icons for each section, and you could sort of sit down and look in each section, and everything in there was something that you could comprehend, and you could understand what this thing is and how it interacts, how changing this setting interacts with the system. And I don't know, I don't know how they did it, but they just really nailed it. And I would love to achieve that same feeling with Serenity, where someone technically savvy can just sit down and use the system to work his way to features that he doesn't know about yet. Because just have to let some people cross here. All right. So I want the user to be able to discover stuff he doesn't know about the system. But I don't know. This is stuff I don't know how to do yet. And it's important to keep the end user in mind. And the end user of Serenity is very different than the end user of Windows 95. Because the end user of Serenity is someone like me, or someone who's technically very savvy and understands how human-computer interfaces work, and does not need hand-holding, but rather some other kind of guidance. More like, I don't know, like peripheral suggestion type guidance. I don't know how to do that, but I'm sure we can figure it out. It's just something that I was thinking about today, and we'll see what we do with it. But now I'm arriving at work here, so I gotta get out of the car and get cracking. So I'll just say thanks for hanging out with me on the commute. And if you have any tips about usability or discoverability in an environment targeting the highly technically savvy, then let's talk about it, because I still appreciate a good user interface. I just want it to get out of my way, you know? So how do you make something like that? Anyways, catch you later. Bye.